Hey guys, this is Nick. Welcome to another episode of StrangeSpotting. Today we're going to take a look at the Independence Day Bigfoot video, a very famous and fascinating recording of an alleged Sasquatch. Here's the full unedited clip. I would like to begin this analysis by saying that I subscribe to the point of view of anomalistics. Anomalistics is a term coined in 1973 by Drew University anthropologist Roger W. Westcott, who defined it as being the serious and systematic study of all phenomena that fail to fit the picture of reality provided for us by common sense or by the established sciences. He credited journalist and researcher Charles Fort as being the creator of anomalistics as a field of research. In other words, it's the use of scientific methods to evaluate anomalies or phenomena that fall outside current understanding with the aim of finding a rational explanation. The reason why I'm telling you this is that I find this video fascinating because it provides both convincing and unconvincing elements, making it harder to evaluate than other alleged Bigfoot clips. Let's start with the background information. We have precisely zero info about the location, the date, and the author of this video. Other clips, whether more or less famous than the Independence Day Bigfoot, normally are associated with a place, a name, or a date, but not this one. This is the first element that could undermine its plausibility. I couldn't dig any information about the name either. There is nothing reliable about it being filmed or published on a July 4th. The second dubious element here is that the person recording, or the witness so to speak, doesn't even talk or make a sound, to the point that we don't even know their gender or if they're alone. The camera holder remains quiet and keeps filming, and only the shaky camera work may betray some degree of anxiety. Mind you, this is not an indisputable sign of forgery, because while the majority of people may understandably react fearfully when faced with something outside their frame of reference, a minority might be able to stay in control. As anyone can clearly see, there are two different subjects visible in the clip: an adult and a baby. The adult moves out of the cover provided by a big rock, walks from right to left according to the witness's point of view, and hides briefly behind another rock. The witness takes a few quick steps closer to get better footage, and the creature emerges from behind the rock with a toddler in its arms, resuming the same direction as before until it's out of sight. The obvious interpretation is that the adult, which appears to be a male given the general physical features and the lack of pendulous breasts, like Patty from the Patterson-Gimlin footage, is in protection mode and perceives the witness as a threat for the baby. We can assume that it left the baby there while looking for food or shelter maybe, and when the witness approached, it probably tried to stay hidden, hoping that the human wouldn't notice them and move on. When it realized that its cover was blown, it dropped the stealth act and let the human see it to get the baby and leave that area. One thing that concerns me is why the subject chooses to go that way instead of others. It seems a little too convenient, almost as if it were purposely parading for the camera. A possible explanation could be that the other members of the family or pack are in that direction and it's trying to join them for protection. Let's take a look at the physical features of the subject. Sorry for the bad quality of the image, but I had to sharpen it and increase the luminosity to extreme levels for the purpose at hand. I drew some bars to tentatively measure the length of the subject from head to feet, with a break at each joint. Then I superimposed this athletic gentleman, resized him to be roughly the same height, and repeated the bar drawing process. Last, I copied all bars, arranged them, resized the man's bars a bit so that the top and the bottom coincide with those of the subject. If the subject were a species of ape or hominid different from Homo sapiens, it should have different body ratios. In other words, the ratios between lower leg, upper leg, torso and head should be different than those of human beings according to anthropometry, which is the scientific study of the measurements and proportions of the human body. As you can see, they are exactly the same. This makes the costume-wearing hoax explanation more plausible than the alternative. As for the height, I've drawn a double-headed arrow to reference the tree's trunk's diameter and compared it to the subject's height. If we assume that the other foot is here, we can tell that the subject's height is 2.8 arrows, give or take. Here's a table with formulas for 4 different hypothetical trunk diameter lengths and the resulting estimates. Since this is noticeably not a small tree, I considered 5 possible diameters, ranging from 22 to 30 inches. In my opinion, it's most likely that the trunk's true diameter is something between 26 to 30 inches, which would make the subject's height ranging from 6 to 7 feet tall, or 1.85 to 2.13 meters tall. This estimate does nothing to rule out the possibility of this being a human being wearing a costume. Anything from 6 to 6.5 feet would make this a tall person, but nothing out of the ordinary. The last point about physical feature I want to make is a detail that doesn't sit quite right with me. Look at the rear end. This is not consistent with the muscular outline of Patty, for example, but more reminiscent of a saggy costume. There are at least 4 elements in the subject's posture and movement that make me doubt the legitimacy of this video. Once again, I'm going to take stills and small portions from the golden standards of Bigfoot sightings, the Patterson-Gimlin video, plus from another famous recording that I deem very plausible, the Paul Freeman footage, as reference for each of these elements. Number 1. Head position. Here are 3 different stills of the Independence Day subject, side by side. In all of them, the head is placed in a straight line with the torso, whereas both Patty and the Paul Freeman subject exhibit a different structure with the head constantly positioned at an angle. Now let's focus on the gait and general movement of the subject. Obviously, gait analysis has become a very important aspect of Bigfoot video analysis since the Patterson-Gimlin footage went public in 1967. The 2 most significant aspects are, number 1, how Patty walks without ever locking the knee, with legs always bent and creating a 90-degree angle with the leg lifted from the ground and moving forward. There's one distinct moment in the Independence Day video where the legs of the subject are fully visible and the gait is slightly similar to the one attributed to the Sasquatch species, but not quite the same. Number 2. Patty walks hunched forward. This has been observed in many other alleged Bigfoot recordings, and although present here, it's not very pronounced, and it doesn't look as natural and fluid as with Patty, which could be an indication of an actor trying to replicate that feature. Last, although not as prominent as the other 2 aspects, Patty has a very controlled and specific moderate swinging of the arms without ever bending them at the elbow. The subject under analysis here, on the other hand, swings the arms much more visibly and bends them almost at a 90-degree angle, which seems more human to me. This footage has gained a lot of notoriety because of one element very rarely seen in the vast number of clips where Bigfoot was allegedly caught on camera: a baby Sasquatch. For many, this is the single aspect that proves this clip's legitimacy and makes it as important as the Patterson Gimlin. Many have pointed out that the baby moves and that no one would go as far as making a baby wear a Bigfoot costume for a simple hoax. I have forced myself to be as unbiased as possible in observing this peculiar element. Unfortunately, given the terrible quality and resolution of the video, it's impossible to say with certainty if it moves or not. But after watching it many times over, I have to admit that I don't see any spontaneous movement. To me, it looks like an inanimate object, and the impression of autonomous motion is an optical effect caused by the combination of the adult's arms moving it and the excessive blur of the video. There is only one instant where it seems to move on its own, right here, but it's impossible to conclusively assert that. Two details about the technical aspect of this recording cast additional suspicion on the entire thing. The first one: why does the camera start panning to the left before the subject comes out? It could be a pure coincidence, of course, but it could also be an involuntary anticipation of something the camera holder knows is about to happen, because it is staged. The second one: why is the resolution of this video so bad? I can't say for sure the time of the day here, but I would guess either early morning or close to sunset. Anyone who has even a passing interest in photography and video making can tell you that this is an ideal lighting condition to achieve sharp and clear footage because of the soft light. And since this doesn't seem to be vintage footage, I don't see any reason for it to be so bad, besides being intentionally scaled down in post-production to hide any compromising details, such as maybe a rigid mask or a costume zip. I approach these videos with the same attitude of someone dealing with a crime, and therefore the analysis wouldn't be complete without taking motive into consideration. If this is a hoax, it required considerable planning and resources, disproportionate if compared to the fact that the authors are unknown and received no financial benefits, fame, or job offers for it. Why would someone put so much effort into something with only a few laughs among co-conspirators as reward? To wrap it all up, the Independence Day Bigfoot video presents some key plausible elements, such as a realistic subject behavior, camera instability pointing to authentic anxiety, possible autonomous motion of the baby, and lack of a clear motive for a hoax. On the other hand, the key aspects undermining its credibility are a total lack of info on the video, the subject's walking direction suggesting intentional parading for the camera, the subject's human body ratios, possible signs of a saggy costume, no evidence of anomalous height, a human skeletal structure in relation to the head's position, a human gait, little or no hunching forward, arms exaggerated swinging and bending while walking, camera panning to the left before the subject leaves cover, and unjustified poor video quality suggesting intentional downgrading to hide revealing details. As you can tell, the negative points far outweigh the positive ones, which is why I deemed the Independence Day Bigfoot video an implausible evidence of an undiscovered great ape species, and most likely a well-planned and well-executed hoax. Do you agree with this analysis? Is there any specific video or mystery they would like me to analyze? If so, let me know in the comments. That would really help the channel grow. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.